Hey guys, welcome to CPA After Hours. I'm your host Z, this is my partner Austin, and let's dig in.
Today's topic is what college got right and what it didn't. The idea is we're in a field, we're required to have college degrees, so we can't really weigh in on whether or not college is worth it per se. But I think Z and I both know that there are classes we had where we learned stuff and we still use it today. And there are classes where we showed up every day and never got our tuition's worth.
One of my favorite classes was business law, and Tom Courtway taught that class. He had some awesome stories. I remember the thing about the torts, and I also remember strict liability for that class. You gonna tell us your favorite story?
Yeah, it's all about me walking down the street with my groceries and I see a tiger that's escaped out of somebody's backyard. And this is before Tiger King too, so I feel like it's only become more relevant as time's gone on.
Does the tiger go to jail?
Yeah, and the whole point was there's a concept called strict liability. So there's certain things that are so dangerous, even if it's completely by accident and you're not directly causing it, you've got to be liable. And so his argument was that that tiger was so dangerous, strict liability was in place, and somebody would have to pay for my groceries.
True case, by the way. I believe they took it out of Florida. Yeah, he told us that
anything could happen in Florida.
Yeah, maybe I should live there. Be a billionaire. That could happen.
But he used to do this thing when he introduced torts, which are like basically just things you can sue for that are civil rather than criminal. And he talked about the signs out at Walmart, like when there's wet floor and they don't put the signs out. He said, I go and I see a puddle and there's no wet floor sign, and I just think that's a tort waiting to happen. And to this day, Z and I will both see something and we'll go, that's a tort waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. As far as classes that I did not like, there weren't a lot. I don't think that quantitative literacy was a good use of my time. That's like the introductory to business math. I also did not enjoy accounting information systems. Nothing to do with the professor. They gave you these QuickBooks. She said, we just transitioned from Peachtree. And I'm not that old. So Peachtree is like 20 years outdated at this point. And now we're doing QuickBooks Online. Well, we have this QuickBooks Online assignment every week for, 12, 16 weeks. And on Labor Day, I just decided to do them all. And so I did all of them. That's 30% of my class grade, done in like a day, 2 days. And this QuickBooks accounting software that we're working on is outdated. It doesn't even apply to what we're doing today, or even 4 years ago. It's an old software that they had us running. So that was a big waste of time, in my opinion. Again, no offense to the professor. If you watch this, it's just my opinion on the curriculum.
I had a class I really hated, and it was Global Environment of Business. And it really wasn't anything to do with the class. It was a very easy class. But the professor was just nuts. I think her rate my professor is like 2.5 or something.
2.3, I checked yesterday.
Okay. She would lock the doors as soon as it was time for class to start. And it was in this big auditorium, so you'd hear people rattling on the doors. She would get these crazy eyes, and just her face, it's just mean. She'd go into these rants. And then she'd go on political tirades in the middle of class, and she would make people raise their hand if they supported particular candidates. It was just very alienating. Women were really scared of her. Somehow she liked me. She'd always ask me to run papers around the building. So I don't know what I did to earn her favor.
You didn't raise your hand. That's what you didn't do. No, what you did.
So I think that's good enough to just talk about what we did take. But one of the things I'm passionate about is we don't always teach enough in schools. So I think it'd be fun now to talk about what are some things that you were not taught, but you should have been. And maybe the best way to frame that is, what's cost you the most money in running the business as a result of not being taught that in school?
There is a lot of money that you've lost because you never got it, that you could have got. So an opportunity cost, in my opinion. They don't teach you anything about sales and marketing in the accounting department. So they prepare you to work for this huge $1 billion CPA firm like Forbes or, I mean, Frost is a billion, but they're massive. It used to be called BKD instead of Forbes, but they've had a few name changes since. They don't prepare you for entrepreneurship in those classes. And so a 3-tiered proposal, like most accounting firms aren't doing that. That makes us thousands of dollars a year, and it also provides the clients the accessibility and the way we work with them to their standards, to what they want. Instead of drop off your stuff, we do it, we send it back. So that was a huge thing I wish I would have learned earlier on. Also, how to manage people. They do not talk about that whatsoever. They don't talk about leadership styles.
Now, you had a class called Managing People in Work. Are you telling me they didn't teach you how to manage people?
You're telling me they didn't pull all those questions out of the book, and that's just like a, what do they call Quizlet? That's a Quizlet test? Yeah. I was really good at getting through the work. It didn't mean I remember or learned it. So, what did you learn from managing people at work?
Nothing.
Okay, well, at least I'm not.
It was like the science of managing people, so it would be like, here's one approach, and here's how it works in the workplace. Like, there was no projects, like behavioral. Somebody comes in late every day, how do you handle that? Or, you think you deserve a raise and don't know how to communicate that, how do you go talk? None of that was in there.
Actually, my managing people in work class was online. So there was no people in my class. It makes no sense. So I wish I would have learned some of that stuff too. And strangely enough, and you would think this would be the case, but it's not. They don't teach you how to run a business financially in accounting. Like, at all. They don't tell you what's a healthy gross profit margin for a service versus products-based business. They don't tell you how much you should allocate to wages. They don't tell you how much you should allocate for taxes, how to save for that stuff throughout the year. There's a ton of stuff related to accounting, especially if you're going to be a business owner, that they don't hit on at all.
Yeah, and so I'll echo that. I teach a class over at Hendricks, and so for the last day of every class I teach, I used to teach high school math too, I have always done a day where I say, what did you want to learn that you haven't learned so far in the class? And so they had pulled me in when I taught high school math to quantitative reasoning, and they had done a unit on taxes, and I did the same thing, and I got a lot of technical questions about like how different parts of the tax code work. So I kind of figured that's what I would get on the individual tax class at Hendricks, and basically all the questions were about practicing as an accountant and like career related questions, which was kind of funny because I'm really young, right? So I didn't really feel like I had the experience to answer them. But then I looked around at the experience of the other people, in academia, and realized that a lot of those people don't have that many years of experience. So even though I might not be the best person, I was the best they had access to. So the questions I got were, how do you bill in a CPA firm? That's not anything that you're taught at any point during your career. How are you evaluated as an employee in a CPA firm? I had forgot about that, but that was a culture shock to me when I first started working in bigger firms. One of them was what qualities make somebody successful versus not successful. That is not something that really gets talked about much at all. What else did they ask me? Well, if I can't think of it, it must have only been important.
Yeah, I bet a lot of those questions weren't super important, but they were just, how does this actually work in practicality? Do we ever get to riff on college on this podcast? Is that in our agenda?
Riff on it? What do you mean?
If, like, for example, if I didn't have like a full ride to go to college, I was going to go be a welder. There was no chance I was paying for a degree or student loans or any of that to go make 30, 40, 50, 60,000 a year when I had this $30,000, $40,000 student loan hanging over my head. So I just didn't think that made sense. And since then, my opinion has only hardened. Yeah, it seems like academia sometimes, not all the time, will have a staff of people that don't know how to actually use the information practically, but they can regurgitate the information to the students so they can regurgitate it back. It doesn't seem like a very effective mode of education. Evidently, I talked about managing people and work earlier.
Well, and as somebody that's now had access to those college books, some of them are not especially well written, or they're written by people that haven't practiced in a long time and they're researchers. So if you get somebody that their goal is to get through the book in the course, you're not going to learn any of it very deeply. And so I was kind of lucky that our book is one book for individual and business, and so I could kind of pick what topics I thought were more relevant to prepare them for the business class, emphasize things that I've seen in practice, de-emphasize things that aren't, and they give me a little bit of leeway to do that as long as it's still hitting all the CPA exam alignment standards. So I think if I could go back again, I'd probably just go to barber college. I don't think I'd ever go back through college again, or culinary school, or something fun.
It's not too late.
Well, I don't want to go to school again. See, I'm at the point now, not that I think I'm a genius or anything, but I hate sitting in a room with people like condescending to you in any context, whether it's school or not. And so I've had really good teachers that, like, the energy was, we're going to share our wisdom and you're going to grow throughout this class. But sometimes you have people that's like, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to make you feel small. And I don't really need that anymore. So I'll just get up and walk out.
So I was a supplemental instructor. That's how I met Austin within the first couple weeks of school. We're basically teacher assistants. And there was this professor, it was his last year, he was retiring. Now, sitting in, because you have to sit in the class with the students, so you make sure you know the information and material, and then you educate them outside of the hour. And his question was, so how do you buy land? We're talking about journal entries. How do you buy land? You debit land, you credit what? Somebody said, cash? He said, that's stupid. Who buys land with cash? You finance it. And I'm like, Jesus. Okay. Accounts payable? No. You're going to pay that off within a year? No. Notes payable. And that, I think, describes what you're talking about with the condescending tone.
I had another one, and he was in class, and he said, any questions? This was auditing. And this little girl, very skinny, very nice, very sweet, asked some question I thought was really okay. I don't even remember what the question was. And he goes, So he starts with a grunt. That's how you know you're in trouble. And he goes, y'all have probably heard there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Oh, jeez.
That's wrong. Y'all all just heard one. You think anybody asked a question for the rest of the semester? Nope. We all phoned it in. I somehow passed that class. I don't really think I learned anything. And that kind of soured me on auditing. So,
yeah, I had auditing during COVID. So I'd wake up, turn on my 8 a.m. class, take a nap until about 9:40, and then close that computer.
okay.
And start my day.
So we've rambled, and we've got 4 minutes left. Rapid fire advice to 3 different groups of people: a high school senior, a college student, and an early career professional.
Each?
Just one thing for each.
Okay, I'll do the high school senior. If you're not 100% committed on what you want to do, that's fine. Shadow first before you pay to go to college. All the advisors are going to tell you to do your basic core classes, the ones that everybody has to take before you do any of your degree setting ones. I think that's stupid. I did my core classes my senior year. If you don't know what you want to do, you better take a class on it early instead of spending 2 years taking these core classes and not using any of it. So those are my 2 bits of advice.
For a high school senior, to me, I don't know if I'm even going to say shadow per se, simply because there's certain careers you're not really going to be able to do that. Like, if you want to go with a nuclear power plant, good luck. Used to, they'd let you walk around in one. We had one here in Russellville, and I got to go tour it. You used to could go like where they had the water and see like the rods underneath the water that were spent. But anyways, interviewing for sure. So like find people, a variety. Like I used to want to be a high school English teacher, and I kind of got soured on that. And the way I got soured on it was I interviewed 5 English teachers at various age groups and with like different personality styles. So I intentionally interviewed some that I kind of thought were losers. I interviewed some that I thought were killing it. I interviewed some that were like middle of the road but seemed to be having a good time. And then I interviewed one that seemed just miserable, even though they were very smart. And so I want to know why everybody felt the way they did. And I really found commonalities across all of that. And what I kind of realized was if you wanted to really teach kids, you ended up having your soul crushed. And if you were there to collect a paycheck and you were just fancy free and kind of, I guess I'm at school today, then people really were having a lot of fun with it. And so I was like, I don't really want to be the kind of person that just gives up and shows up and phones it in. I got to find me something else to do. So I think interviewing or shadowing, either one works. College student.
Have fun. That's the last time you get to spend your time staying up till 3 a.m. and sleeping until 11 every day. I wish I could do that now. It's hard to do with a wife and kids. So get all of that out of your system now. And you're gonna look back and feel like you wasted a lot of time if you waste a lot of time. So do something that's worthwhile. Learn a skill that's valuable. If you want to do sales and marketing, go get your insurance license and suffer that while you're in college so you don't have to have a real job then. And no offense to insurance professionals out there, but I have been licensed and I don't like it. Anyway, that would be my advice.
Okay, for me, I'm the college student. I took college a little too seriously. I spent a lot of Friday nights doing accounting homework on the floor. So don't do that, or do, but you don't have to have a 4.0, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. I would try to apply whatever it is they're teaching you. So, if you're in AIS, they're teaching you how to use QuickBooks, go find you a bookkeeping client. Find somebody that's 5 years behind and see if you can help them. I mean, worst case scenario, you can't help them. Well, they're already 5 years behind. How much worse can it get, right? So you're not going to really do any harm on that. And then last, we've got early career professionals. We're running short on time, so I'm going to throw out mine real quick and then kick it over to you. I have worked for a lot of different large accounting firms, and what they can sometimes try to do is brainwash you into feeling incompetent, because incompetent people don't go searching for new jobs, right? If you don't think you're hireable,
Yep.
You're not going to ever leave. So what I would say is find you somewhere with somebody who feels underappreciated but is really, really smart, and kiss their rear end. Because if you can show that person that you respect what they're doing and you respect their knowledge, they are so much more likely to share it with you. It's kind of a thankless profession we're in. And so somebody who feels like their knowledge is appreciated is going to be really eager to share it.
I think that's really good. The brainwashing is real, guys. I would probably seek somebody out if you're in accounting. If you're not in accounting, same thing, just on a different platform. In accounting, I'd seek somebody out that you respect and you like, that you kind of jive with on LinkedIn. Ask them to talk. I accept every request that people send to me. And so I'm sure there's a lot of other people like me that are willing to do the same thing. So that would be my advice. Talk to somebody that's a couple years ahead, has the wisdom, knows where you're at currently, and can show you how to get to where you want to be. Thanks for listening and watching potentially, if this is video, and we are out.